Bumpy Johnson was drinking coffee at Wells' restaurant when Sarah Mitchell ran through the door. She wasn't walking. She was running, stumbling, gasping, tears streaming down her face. Every head in the restaurant turned. Bumpy set down his cup. He knew that look. Pure terror. Sarah collapsed at his table, grabbed his arm with both hands. "Mr. Johnson, my daughter. They took my daughter." "Slow down," Bumpy said quietly. "Who took her?" "I don't know. White men, 2 of them, grabbed her right off the street. She was walking home from school. They put her in a car. Mr. Johnson, please." Bumpy's blood went cold. A kidnapping in Harlem, in broad daylight. "What's your daughter's name?" "Claudia. Claudia Mitchell. She's 9 years old. She was wearing her school uniform, blue dress, white collar. She had her book bag." Willie Thompson, Bumpy's lieutenant, leaned in. "Boss, we need to move fast. If this is what I think it is." Bumpy held up a hand. "Sarah, look at me. When did this happen?" "Maybe 20 minutes ago. I was at work cleaning at the hotel. Mrs. Peterson from across the street called me, said she saw it happen, said Claudia was screaming, fighting, but they were too strong." "Where exactly?" "Corner of 135th and Lenox, right in front of the barber shop." Bumpy stood. "Willie, get Junie. Get quick. Get everyone. I want every soldier we have on the street in the next 10 minutes. "On it, boss." Bumpy turned back to Sarah. "Did Mrs. Peterson see the car, the license plate?" "She said it was a black sedan. Ford, maybe. She didn't get the plate. It happened so fast." "That's okay. We'll find her." Sarah grabbed his hand, squeezed it desperately. "Mr. Johnson. She's all I have. Her father died 2 years ago. It's just me and her. If anything happens, nothing's going to happen. I promise you." But Bumpy knew better than to make promises he couldn't keep. 5:15 p.m. Bumpy stood on the corner of 135th and Lenox. Mrs. Peterson, elderly, trembling, pointed to the exact spot. "She was right here, Mr. Johnson, walking home like she does every day. Sweet child. Always says hello." And then this car pulled up, fast, and 2 white men jumped out. What did they look like? One was tall, maybe 6 feet. Dark hair, suit, and tie. The other was shorter, stockier, had a scar on his face. Right here. She traced a line down her left cheek. They didn't say anything, just grabbed her and threw her in the back seat. "Which direction did they go?" "North, toward the bridge." Bumpy nodded. North meant they were leaving Harlem. That was bad, very bad. Junie Bird arrived, out of breath. "Boss, I got 20 men ready. What's the plan?" "We've got maybe 4 hours before this gets worse. Kidnappers usually make contact within 6 hours. Demand ransom, but if they don't..." He didn't finish the sentence. They both knew what happened to kidnapped children when ransom wasn't the goal. "I want everyone talking to everyone," Bumpy said. "Every bartender, every shopkeeper, every cabbie, every person who was on the street between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. Someone saw something. Someone always sees something. What are we looking for?" "Black Ford sedan, 2 white men, tall one with dark hair, short one with a scar on his face. And Junie." "Yeah, boss? Find out if any white men have been asking questions about Harlem kids lately. Anyone acting suspicious around schools." This wasn't random. Junie's eyes widened. "You think they were watching her?" "I think they knew exactly when she'd be walking home alone." 6:30 p.m. Bumpy's network moved like a machine. Within an hour, 3 witnesses came forward. A taxi driver saw a black Ford sedan heading toward the George Washington Bridge around 5 p.m. 2 men in front, something moving in the back seat. A newsstand operator on 145th Street saw the same car stopped at a red light. He noticed the license plate started with NY4. A doorman at an apartment building on Riverside Drive saw 2 white men entering a building at 5:20 p.m., one tall, one short. They looked nervous. Bumpy spread a map across his table at Wells' restaurant. "They're still in Manhattan. They haven't left the city yet." "Quick," one of his best investigators pointed to Riverside Drive. "That building, you know who owns it." "Who?" "Thomas Gallo. Runs a garbage collection company, rumored to have mob connections." Bumpy's jaw tightened. The Italian mob. This was starting to make sense. Willie spoke up. "Boss, if this is mob-related, we need to be careful. We can't just storm in there. Watch me." "Bumpy, A 9-year-old girl is terrified somewhere in this city right now. I don't care who's involved. But Bumpy knew Willie was right. If the Italian families were behind this, going in guns blazing would start a war, and wars got people killed. He needed a different approach. 7:45 p.m. Bumpy called Frank Costello. Costello was one of the most powerful mob bosses in New York. If anyone knew about a kidnapping involving Italians, it would be him. Frank, it's Bumpy. Bumpy. What can I do for you? A 9-year-old girl was kidnapped in Harlem this afternoon. 2 white men. I have reason to believe they're connected to Thomas Gallo. There was a long pause. Bumpy, I don't know anything about a kidnapping. I'm not accusing you, Frank. I'm asking for information. If this is one of your people, I need to know, because if I find them first, this gets ugly. Another pause. Let me make some calls. You've got 1 hour. Bumpy hung up. Willie looked at him. You think he knows? He will soon. 8:30 p.m. Frank Costello called back. Bumpy, I asked around. Thomas Gallo has a nephew, Vincent Gallo. He's been running some side operations without family approval. Low-end sharking, extortion, that kind of thing. Does Vincent have a scar on his face? Left cheek, got it in a knife fight in Brooklyn. Bumpy's hands tightened into fists. Where is he? I don't know. But Bumpy, if this is Vincent, he's acting alone. The families don't kidnap children. That's a line we don't cross. Then you won't mind if I cross it to get her back. Just don't start a war. Then tell Thomas Gallo to keep his nephew on a leash. Bumpy hung up again. We've got our man, he told Willie. Vincent Gallo, let's find him. 9:15 p.m. Ama asil shok edishi olan she, hikayen sades başlıyordu. Quick found Vincent Gallo's last known address, a warehouse in the Bronx. But when Bumpy's men arrived, the place was empty, abandoned, no sign of Claudia. Bumpy paced in his office. Sarah Mitchell sat in the corner, silent, praying. Boss, Junie said quietly. It's been almost 5 hours. If they were going to ask for ransom, they would have called by now. Bumpy knew what Junie was really saying. If this wasn't about money, then it was about something worse. He couldn't let himself think that way. Not yet. Keep looking, Bumpy said. Check every building Gallo owns, every warehouse, every apartment, every property. I don't care if it takes all night. Sarah looked up. Mr. Johnson. What if they've already... Don't think like that. We're going to find her. But Bumpy's own doubt was growing. 10:30 p.m. A break. Finally, a bartender in the Bronx called. He'd seen Vincent Gallo and another man at his bar around 6 p.m. They were drinking, talking quietly, and they mentioned the girl. What did they say? Bumpy demanded. Something about keeping her quiet, about moving her tomorrow morning, about a boat. A boat that meant they were planning to take her out of the city, maybe out of the country. Bumpy had less time than he thought. Where were they going after the bar? I don't know, but one of them mentioned Red Hook. The docks. Red Hook, Brooklyn, a maze of warehouses and shipping containers. The perfect place to hide someone. Let's go, Bumpy said. 11:45 p.m. Bumpy, Willie, Junie, and 15 armed men arrived at Red Hook. The docks were dark, quiet, abandoned at this hour. Rows of shipping containers stretched for blocks. Spread out, Bumpy ordered. Check every container, every warehouse. If you find them, don't shoot unless you have to. That little girl might be in the crossfire. The men dispersed. Bumpy walked slowly through the shadows, listening, watching, and then he heard it. A muffled cry, faint, distant, but definitely a child's voice. He ran toward the sound. It was coming from a small warehouse near the water. The door was locked. Willie appeared beside him. I heard it too. Bumpy didn't hesitate. He kicked the door open. Inside, tied to a chair, was Claudia Mitchell, gagged, terrified, but alive. 11:52 p.m. Jimdi Gurduklerin Hispir Shea. Bumpy ran to her, pulled off the gag, started untying the ropes. You're okay. You're safe now. I'm a friend of your mother's. Claudia sobbed, threw her arms around him. Where are the men? Bumpy asked. They left, she whispered. Said they'd be back in the morning. Bumpy lifted her up, carried her outside. Willie wrapped her in his jacket. Get her to Sarah, Bumpy told Willie. Take her home. Make sure she's safe. What are you going to do? I'm going to wait. For what? For them to come back. August 24th, 1957, 6:15 a.m. Vincent Gallo and his partner, a man named Paulie, returned to the warehouse at dawn. They walked in laughing, relaxed. They had no idea what was waiting for them. Bumpy stepped out of the shadows. Behind him, Junie and 10 armed men. Vincent froze. What the Looking for someone? Bumpy asked quietly. Vincent reached for his gun. Junie was faster. He slammed Vincent against the wall, disarmed him. Paulie tried to run. Willie tackled him. Bumpy walked slowly toward Vincent. You made a mistake. I don't know what you're talking about. Bumpy grabbed him by the throat. You kidnapped a 9-year-old girl. She's fine. We didn't hurt her. It was just business. Business? Bumpy's voice dropped to a whisper. You terrorized a child. You made her mother think she'd never see her daughter again. You call that business? Look, man, we were just gonna ask for ransom. From who? Sarah Mitchell? A cleaning lady who makes $40 a week? You're not just criminals. You're idiots. Vincent's eyes darted around, looking for an escape. There was none. Please, I'm sorry. We'll leave town. You'll never see us again. Bumpy let go of his throat, stepped back. You're right. I'll never see you again. He turned to Junie. Take them to the river. Vincent's eyes went wide. Wait, please. You wanted to put a child on a boat tomorrow morning. Disappear her. Now you're going to disappear. Bumpy, Mr. Johnson, please. I'll do anything. Bumpy looked at him with cold, absolute certainty. You should have thought of that before you touched a child in my neighborhood. But here's what nobody expected. Bumpy didn't kill them. He had Junie and Willie tie them up, gag them, and put them on a cargo ship bound for Naples, Italy. No money, no passports, no way back. When you get to Italy, Bumpy told Vincent before they sealed the container, you explain to your family what you did. You tell them you kidnapped a child in Harlem, and you see if they let you live. Vincent's screams were muffled by the gag as the container door closed. August 24th, 1957, 10:30 a.m. Bumpy knocked on Sarah Mitchell's door. She opened it, and Claudia ran into Bumpy's arms. Thank you, Sarah sobbed. Thank you. Bumpy knelt down, looked Claudia in the eyes. You're safe now. Those men are never coming back. How do you know? Because I made sure of it. Claudia hugged him. You're a hero. Bumpy smiled sadly. No, sweetheart. I'm just someone who keeps his promises. September 1957. Word spread through Harlem. Bumpy Johnson found a kidnapped girl in 18 hours, brought her home safe, made the kidnappers disappear. Every parent in Harlem felt safer. Every child walked to school knowing someone was watching over them. But Bumpy knew the truth. He'd been lucky. If Vincent and Paulie had been smarter, if they'd moved her out of the city faster, if that bartender hadn't overheard them. He didn't finish the thought. Instead, Bumpy created something new. The Harlem Child Protection Network. Every school, every playground, every street corner where kids gathered. He stationed people, watchers, not criminals, community members, parents, teachers, people who cared. And he made a rule that echoed through every crew, every operation, every person who did business in Harlem. Children are untouchable. Anyone who harms a child answers to me. That rule saved lives for the next decade. Years later, in 1968, at Bumpy Johnson's funeral, a young woman in her 20s stood at his casket. Claudia Mitchell, now a teacher. Married, happy. She placed a flower on his coffin, whispered, "You saved my life, Mr. Johnson, and I never forgot." If this story moved you, remember, real power isn't destroying people, it's protecting them. Bumpy Johnson understood that, and Harlem never forgot.